Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 57 today for the Italian Grand Prix in Season 3. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. A very good race for us in a moment where we need to try and break the momentum of Charles Leclerc in the championship. And obviously there we also got an R&D rule set. We're now saving R&D points in the top right until pretty much the end of the season, and then we'll look into spending those and, adjusting the parts to try and save some R&D for next year. But I don't feel like spending them right now. I may as well just save them all up and wait till the very end, because obviously there's no time constraint on doing that. But speaking of R&D then, I said that maybe other teams might start to plateau a little bit because they're also going to be saving the points to try and alter them for Season 4. But you can see the likes of Renault still moving on ahead with upgrades here. Now Renault go into the third spot on the R&D chart ahead of Williams and Racing Point, and they're as close as any team has really ever been to the top two here at McLaren and Toro Rosso here. So maybe Renault in this next few races will really start to turn up. They've been there or thereabouts in the recent few races, but not fully there. It's really just been ourselves, myself and Leclerc and the two McLaren cars. So we might see Renault finally step up and once again be at the forefront of F1 like they were in Season 2 at the end of it. But obviously a great win for us last race, the Italian Grand Prix. Now Toro Rosso is technically an Italian sort of team, so hopefully it can be another good one for us. Obviously last year we had a pretty damn good one at the Italian GP, so hopefully we can have one again. I'm sure it's going to be all about the speed, and we know how good this car is in a straight line. So I think we should be having hopefully a pretty strong weekend, but you can never tell. There also might be a little bit of rain in the air at the end of qualifying, so let's see about that. Let's get to Saturday and see how we do over one lap.
Practice is all wrapped up as we move into qualifying here at the Autodromo di Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Any moment now, the teams will be heading out onto the track. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So right now in Q1, all sunny skies, but like I said, there was going to be a forecast, a bit of rain later on there. We're going to have to watch out for that. Although this is the first episode of Career Mode, guys, that I'm recording after the latest patch 1.12, and that patch actually had some AI tweaking in the wet. So we'll see for the first time now what the AI are going to be like in the wet. But Q1 was pretty easy. Again, kind of like almost Spa. Very weird lap times. I was so much faster than everyone else on that one run in Q1 compared to my teammate, even though the car clearly was good because it was 1-2 in that session. Very, very odd. So we'll see how the track evolution goes. It might kind of devolve a little bit in a way because it's getting colder as the overcast conditions have come through. It's going to start raining, I think, right at the end of Q2. So we've gone out early to try and get a banker lap in just to get us safely into the top 10 shootout. We do get through into P4. Leclerc was surprisingly off the pace there a little bit in P9, and the likes of, well, Verstappen showing up really well. And again, Ferrari looking pretty strong, at least with George Russell. Ricciardo out of Q2, but George Russell right up there in the other Ferrari in the top 10 shootout. And now we go to Q3, and here we go. Here's that rain I was talking about. And so this will be the first time we're going to see what the AI like with these tweaks that, in the patch, to try and equalize, because obviously before the patch, the AI was so OP in the wet. So curious to see how we get on basically versus Leclerc. At the moment, he's on provisional pole, surprisingly actually, because so far the pattern's been this Toro Rosso car has really not been that quick in the wet conditions. But Leclerc right now doing pretty damn good for himself on provisional pole. We set a pretty mediocre first lap time, but we gained a heap of time, more than a second on this second flying lap we did consecutively on that run. And we're up into P3 then. We're about 4 tenths off Leclerc, but still P3 is a pretty damn good result, I would say. Lap time wise, still a bit off Leclerc, so you can still see the AI still are pretty decent in the wet, but that's a lot better than it probably would have been before the patch here. But unfortunately on the third run, I really just made a hash of it into turn 1, locked up quite badly. It stopped raining as hard at the very end of Q3, and I feel like the grip kind of went away from us a little bit. And in the end, unfortunately, we're down to P7. So in terms of positions, we're kind of where we were before in these wet qualifying sessions, but you can see the lap times are so much closer there. Only about 4 tenths covers myself to Leclerc. And so even though I'm disappointed of being down in P7 compared to our teammate, our championship rival in P1 on pole position for tomorrow's race, I'm happy to see that the patch has actually taken effect, and you can see the racing is a little bit closer here. The AI aren't so completely overpowered, and if it wasn't for a few mistakes here and there, I might have been jumped up right to the sharp end of the grid. So that bodes well for the rest of the season and the rest of the game, hopefully, in career mode when the rain starts coming down. But for us anyway, back to concentrate on this specific race. Obviously, a little bit disappointed. P7, quite far away from pole position, but tomorrow is going to be all dry, and we know how crazy the slipstream is going to be around Monza, the temple of speed. So let's just go to the grids and see what we can do, and hopefully it's going to be a good comeback drive to try and match Leclerc for the championship.
The Italians love their cars and they love their racing. And of course, they love it here at Monza. Home race for Ferrari, of course, who've had 18 wins here since 1950. But you know, there's not been so much luck for the locals in the cockpit recently. The last Italian driver to win this race was back in 1966. So what now? I think it's time to make some more history here today. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. We have a really close scrap at the top of the championship at the moment, and they're right in the thick of it. But any mistake now could be disastrous.
Of course, there's never a good time to make mistakes, but it will feel 10 times worse if it happens at such a critical point of the season. Let's hope this contest is settled where it should be, on track, wheel to wheel.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Great work from Lucas Weber yesterday sees him start from pole, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Hülkenberg, the engineer, and Vettel, Bottas, Stroll, Norris, and Charles Leclerc, Hamilton, Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Butler, Giovinazzi, Daniel Kvyat, and Kimi Räikkönen. Magnussen and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, so here we are on the grid in P5 instead of P7, as the likes of Leclerc have been handed some engine penalties. So Leclerc is no longer in pole position, he's down in P10, so that bodes well for us in our fight today with him in the championship as well. Strategy will be a one-stop, obviously soft tire to the medium. The tyre wear, very much non-existent here at the Italian Grand Prix, but the fuel might be an issue. We're going to lower the fuel like usual, because the engine still is very efficient, but because we're on throttles for so long, I suspect we'll have to do a bit more management than we have done in past races here. But we've got a great opportunity now to score some decent points on our championship rival and teammate Leclerc. So here we go then to 5 red lights to the Italian Grand Prix. A Renault on pole, McLaren second. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. Quite some wait for the lights to go out, and it's a mediocre start though. That's one thing that AI have not had in the patch, is the start. So we're down to P6 then, unfortunately, as we go down to turn 1. Very close stuff then. Look at Leclerc. He shoots down the inside. He's overtaken 3 cars then, and he's up into P5. What a miracle start there for our teammate. So down for the count in P10 with the engine penalties, but he's made the most of it with a massive dive to turn 1. We're down to P8 here, and we're battling Lando Norris now as we go side by side, almost banging tyres there as Sebastian Vettel battles Valtteri Bottas up ahead of us. But look at Leclerc go. He's taken the Racing Point car as well, Hülkenberg, and he's up at least that 6 positions, I would say. I think he's up into P4, I think, on the road. So that's a mega start from Leclerc. So probably got the bit between his teeth, probably quite annoyed that he lost the pole position and was all the way down in P10, and so it's proved to work for him there. He just absolutely sent one. And maybe we should have been a bit more aggressive along with him like that, because now we're going to try it on Valtteri Bottas. He goes defensive. We go the long way around on turn 1, but he'll turn to the inside for turn 2. Get the elbows out a little bit, tap his side pod as he doesn't give us too much room there, Valtteri Bottas does. Yellow flags behind as we've got, I think, Magnussen out of the Grand Prix. Yeah, Kevin Magnussen out of his GP, parking up there on the left. But here we go now on the curve. It's very close stuff with Valtteri Bottas. He wobbles about even, but we're going to squeeze him right out, lock up on the front left, just about slow down the car, and we're up into P7 then. But there's a mega scrap going up ahead with involving Sebastian Vettel, George Russell's Ferrari car, and the Racing Point of Hülkenberg, and our teammate Leclerc as he powers past the Ferrari man. Obviously Ferrari the home team, but obviously Toro Rosso still Italian as well, so they'll be wanting to do well. Our team will be wanting us to do well, and so Leclerc goes round the outside of the Ferrari man. Russell doing so well as of late in the Ferrari, I must say, to be fair, to be right up there still in what is, I think, still like the 3rd worst or 4th worst team on the grid according to the R&D chart there, so fair play to him for dragging that car up so far, the Brit. But Leclerc goes defensive. Russell trying to go on the outside. Will he actually get that? Yes, he will. Gets the elbows out. And so it's a mega scrap actually here between these four cars, because Hülkenberg and Vettel are still very much there. You can see we have a little go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel. We get squeezed out though, in the end remain P7, but on lap number 3 it is also close between us 5 cars here. So this is what we want to see if we want to try and catch up to Leclerc. The fact he's being held up in this traffic and hasn't kind of powered past Russell and kind of waltzed away from them. So here we go now. DRS on lap number 4, gaining on Sebastian Vettel, and you can see in the slipstream this car is just so powerful. And so here we go on the outside into turn 1, trying to copy what Russell's doing currently on Leclerc. We squeeze out Vettel though, we get the elbows out very much so, and completely get him off the line there, and so we're up into P6. Now can we do anything on Hülkenberg as now we move on to the end of that lap, and again Leclerc and Russell side by side. Leclerc on the right hand side, Russell on the left in the Ferrari, and Hülkenberg might just get a toe off both of them, so that might be a 3-way moment. There goes Hülkenberg for a move on George Russell. Can we get a double toe? We got a bit of a slipstream off Russell. Now we're in the toe of Hülkenberg. Oh, very close margins there between myself and Russell. Nearly made major contact with him as we closed up so quickly there, but we have to try and complete the move on the Ferrari man first before concentrating on the cars ahead of us. And so we're going to try and spook him off the racing line here in P5, and he's going to tuck in behind thankfully, and so we're up that position, and now we can try and hopefully focus on the Racing Point car. But I must say they've got away a little bit quickly for me, so I don't know, we're going to have to take a few laps maybe to try and catch up to them fully there, and actually try and see what we do. Meanwhile though, up at the front here, I haven't seen too much of the leaders, but this is Lucas Weber versus Sergio Perez for P1 in this Grand Prix. The Mexican down the inside of the right hand side into turn 1, and the McLaren will shoot through into the lead of this Grand Prix. But you can see there, it's good signs for Renault. They upgraded for this weekend, and you can see Weber's got some decent pace there to be fighting for P2, for briefly for this at least that first part of the race was in P1 as well. And only now have I actually seen his teammate Max Verstappen. We haven't seen too much of him. Don't know where he went in this Grand Prix, but now he's right up my chuff, literally almost pushing me down this straight there. The Renault, look at that, he's so close. He actually backs off because he got scared of literally getting so close to my gearbox there, as Verstappen's now overtaking clearly Russell, and he's in P6, and for how much longer, because here he comes now powering past that Renault, looking pretty damn fast in the straight line. Remember season 2 they were mega, and actually you can see that I let him go on purpose here, because my thinking is now lap number 8 I have now spent 4 laps trying to catch up to Hülkenberg and Leclerc, and it wasn't working. So I thought, hang on, let me let Verstappen through. It seems the Renaults are pretty damn slippery in a straight line, and maybe I can use Verstappen as a bit of a tow line, trying to basically use him to pull myself along, and maybe when he's scrapping Hülkenberg and Leclerc I can try and slip through down the inside or outside somewhere and try and make a move that way, because it just wasn't working by myself with no DRS, because I was outside the 1 second window of Hülkenberg. It wasn't working. But now this is what I'm talking about. Look at this, lap number 10, and we can maybe get Hülkenberg. The theory is probably in the end of it, Verstappen was probably always going to overtake Hülkenberg, and I'm hoping Leclerc as well, and so we can just use him as a way to get past both these two whilst he gets past them essentially. So just like we did on lap number 10 there, although massive tank slapper on the exit Parabolica, so Hülkenberg will be right on the back of us there. But for now, that plan did work, but Hülkenberg is still very much there in the DRS, and that Racing Point car has been looking pretty decent in a straight line. Obviously, Spa there pretty good as well last episode, so let's watch out for that as we move on to lap number 11. Lando Norris now out of the Grand Prix, so that's a shame for McLaren. The only man flying the flag now is Sergio Perez in the lead for the Papaya Orange faction here, but here goes Hülkenberg down the inside. We're going to try and switch it to the left-hand side through Ascari. Doesn't work out though, because Hülkenberg brake checks us in the middle there. Obviously, that's just the racing line, so fair play, but Hülkenberg's got us back there, but we will get him back now, because just look how powerful the slipstream is. It's so crazy. So we get back past down the inside without DRS, that is, into Parabolica. So that's literally just classic Monza on the F1 2019 game, or any F1 game really in recent years, especially with season 3, with the power of these cars and the slipstream and the DRS and whatnot. It all just comes together to create some really great racing. But we're back past Hülkenberg then. But so in the grand scheme of things, we've got Sergio Perez out in the lead, Lucas Weber second place, and you've got Leclerc right now in P3, Verstappen P4, myself P5, and Hülkenberg in P6. So like I said, the hope is after these pit stop phases, still the plan will be trying to keep up with Verstappen whilst he goes to overtake Leclerc, and maybe just try and slip through and overtake Leclerc that way, because as it stands I can't catch him on pure pace. Leclerc's got some very decent pace. Of course, he got pole position, albeit in wet conditions, but still he's still got some pace, and so it's very much almost like the Hungarian Grand Prix, where that entire weekend he had me in his back pocket, and in a way, unfortunately, it kind of feels the same way right now as we move on to lap 14. The plan is kind of crumbling a little bit though, because although Leclerc is battling Verstappen, you can see in the minimap the yellow dot and the blue dot dot are very much literally on top of each other there. So that's Leclerc and Verstappen. You can see the top left swapping name tags, but you can clearly see I'm not anywhere near them, and instead I'm looking behind me because Hulkenberg's coming very much aggressively at me down the inside there. I tried to squeeze him as much as I could towards the grass there, but he basically just did not blink, and I was trying to play chicken with him and it didn't work, and so he's stuck there on the right hand side. We just about managed to keep this through for P5 for now, but instead of looking ahead of me, I'm looking very much behind me. So I don't know, as the laps go on, I'm starting to think maybe the overtake on Leclerc is probably going to be gone, and I think instead I'm just going to have to try and solidify this P5 position as those two kind of get out of the way and get out of the DRS range, get out of any kind of slipstream range. And now you can see again for about the 4th time now in this Grand Prix, I'm fighting Hulkenberg. He's down there inside. We're almost side by side for that entire section though. There's some nice racing to be fair though with Hulkenberg, but he's just not the man I want to be fighting really. But alas, we have to go racing, and so here we go down the inside to get back up into P5 then for about the 10th time I think in this episode so far. Lap number 18. We've got 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and how much longer will this fight go on for? If it goes on for any longer, you can see that red dot on the minimap. George Russell's Ferrari is going to be joining us anytime soon, which is just not what I need really. But as Leclerc and Verstappen again swap name tags, Hulkenberg again for the 2nd time now, deja vu down my inside there. He gets us through. We couldn't do it that time. I tried something a little bit fancy, tried to straighten the car faster on the exit there. Didn't really work out, but we're still going to gain on him in the slipstream here. And actually, hang on, might be a late move, you know, on the outside perhaps, as Hulkenberg will stick to the left-hand side. We're going on the right, the long way around, and we're going to try and do what Hamilton failed to do in the real-life Italian Grand Prix and overtake the car down the inside. But no, we haven't managed it. Hulkenberg gets some great traction, and so he gets it and keeps P5. Some great battling here, but in the end, we can't get the German. And now our fellow Brit and countryman, George Russell, is right behind us in the Ferrari. So we might just have a 3-way fight on our hands now for P5. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez still leads the Grand Prix then. 2nd place, Lucas Weber. 3rd place, Verstappen. For how much longer as Leclerc comes back at him there? And those two side by side for nearly all of Ascari there. And Leclerc has to maintain P4 instead. But we're nowhere near that fight instead. 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We're trying to slipstream Hulkenberg, and we get very close to get on the grass there, and we lock up with the front right tyre, probably because of that little bit of grass that hit our tyres. But we get back past Hulkenberg up into P5 once again, but now George Russell is in the fight. Please God, I am really begging that George Russell and Nico Hulkenberg can start fighting, and those two are basically just hamper each other to the point where I can get away. But alas, that's only a hope right now, because on lap 20 or lap 21, look in the mirrors there, the red car. George Russell is trying to make an overtake now on the left-hand side. It's nearly 3 wide into Parabolica. Thank God it's not, because I don't think that would end quite well. But those two are side by side, and those two, crucially, will have DRS on me, and I'm just here like a sitting duck now as we move through on the left-hand side. Overtake mode engaged, but there goes the rear wing pop of George Russell, and it will be 3 wide, I think, because there goes Hulkenberg as well. And so into turn 1, it is 3 abreast. We're on the outside. This is not going to end well here. 3 into 1 is not going to go. We make some contact with George Russell, and in the gravel trap Hulkenberg is, and he's actually slowed down so much that Gasly might get involved. So Hulkenberg came out worse than there, and we have to tuck in behind George Russell to try and re-overtake him now on the right hand side. We switch it from left to right on the outside, back up into P5 for about, I don't even know now, the 15th time there. We literally have been fighting for our lives for this P5 there. I almost want to pop some champagne just for getting P5 the amount we've had to scrap for it here. As we move on to lap 21, the fighting is probably not over as we enter Parabolica now, and Russell is going to be in the DRS range. I think Hulkenberg's got away a little bit there, so I think he's too busy fighting Gasly, but Russell will come knocking once again, and we don't have too much ERS to play around with. We've got overtake mode engaged though. Rich mix going. I lie actually. Hulkenberg's close back up there. You can see his name tag's quite close there, so Hulkenberg's still maybe in the window of opportunity for this P5, but Russell's the one on the outside. But we go very aggressive there. You see how aggressively I cut across him for the apex there to get that P5, and hopefully that might just book us in there as we get off the corner quite fast and get away from Russell. Hopefully try and break that 1 second toe for the DRS range and just any general slipstream really. And that's thankfully what we actually end up doing as we move on to now lap 27. Sergio Perez is your Grand Prix winner, then Lucas Weber in 2nd place, but fast up the Grand Prix, chasing down hard I assume, and 3rd place it looks like might just be Leclerc. I mean, their dots are still right on top of each other on the minimap there. Verstappen in P4 looks like with a close shave there, so Leclerc does get on the podium in the Toro Rosso, and for us it's a very hard fought P5 then. In the end it's going to be a loss of points to Leclerc in the championship there, but I think P5, honestly, looking at the race pace and all of that, I think it's probably the max we could have hoped for, to be honest, and we got lucky that we ended up in P5 because there was such a big scrap for that with Hulkenberg and Russell all race long.
McLaren have pulled it off. They've won in spectacular fashion here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, tyre management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team securing the win and proving they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
So you can see, even in terms about the fast lap of the Grand Prix for everyone there, you can see I just didn't have quite the pace to match Leclerc, and so once again he gets back up into the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and it just goes on and on. I mentioned it last episode, I think I'll say it every episode, it just keeps going up and down, myself and Leclerc. Like, if we did like a little Excel spreadsheet of where we were in the championship, literally we would just be making a crisscross that looks like a bit of a DNA outline map, basically, in terms of the way we're just going up and down, P1, P2. It's just a madness. It really is crazy how close this entire season's been with Leclerc. Ever since we joined Toro Rosso, from the get-go, it's been that close, and it's just awesome. And that race was, yeah, very hard fought one. That's probably one of the hardest P5s I've had to fight for in a long time, but alas, we get it done. We get an extra 400 resource points to help us out with any resets at the end of this season with the R&D chart and the reset there with the regulations. But guys, if you did enjoy that Italian Grand Prix, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're on your around here, subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content, and the fight continues on, and the grudge match continues between myself and Leclerc, and we bounce on to the Singapore Grand Prix next time. But till then, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I've been aarava. Goodbye.